Welcome to Branding Room Only, the podcast where your personal brand gets a front row seat. I'm Paula Edgar, and if you're here, it's because you know your brand isn't just about what you do. It's about how people experience you. In each episode, you'll hear stories, strategies, and lessons from leaders and influencers who built their brands and made their mark. And I'll share the tools you need to do the same. Let's go. Hi, everyone. It's Paula Edgar, and we're back in the branding room. Welcome to Branding Room Only. Today's guest is one of my favorite people, so you are in for a treat. Let me tell you about her. Her name is Rachael Bosch, and she is the founder and CEO of Fringe Professional Development, where she helps lawyers and leaders cut through the noise and actually enjoy the work they do. She spent her career in and around law firms and knows just how complicated those environments can be, child. With Fringe, she brings humor, honesty, and practical tools to help people lead and communicate with confidence. And she's my friend, and that's important. So, Rachael, welcome to the branding room.
Finally, thank you.
We are here.
I've been asking for years. Paula, what do I have to do? Do I have to send flowers, candy? What?
I just need more Fringe swag. But let's jump in. Let's jump in. Rachael, how would you define personal branding? What do you mean? What does it mean to you? How would you define it?
I define it as whatever Paula tells me it is, because I constantly am saying, I don't do branding, I don't do marketing. And then I tell people that I literally have a little Paula on my shoulder who's like, shut the hell up. Yes, you do. What do you think that newsletter is? What is that LinkedIn post? What is that thing you're doing at a conference?
Yes.
So I think that I probably, like a lot of people, have this idea that personal branding is this very big thing. And it's got to have like different arms of a marketing campaign going on in it. And I think that what you teach me is that it's just me showing up in spaces where I can be of use.
Yes. Yes. Consistently,
yes.
Exactly. And I love that definition because it's true. People put a lot of weight on it, and that's what makes it seem not tangible, but it's so, it is a game changer. And I take what you just said. I'm so proud of my little Paula being on your shoulder. You too can buy it. And I'm just kidding. Anyway.
Oh my God.
How would you describe yourself in 3 words or short phrases?
Funny, provocative, authentic.
Yes. I love that. And because it's my podcast and I can tell people my words, I would say consistent, strategic, and thoughtful.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
Do you have a favorite quote?
Do I have a favorite quote? I have a favorite quote of late. Because I feel like it does change a lot. This is a Dolly Parton quote. So like all hail Queen Dolly.
Absolutely.
It kind of, very actually, this was not prepared, people listening. It's very kind of in line with what we were just saying. The quote is, find out who you really are and do that on purpose.
That's a perfect quote. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
What about this? And for you, I'm interested in hearing what your answer to this one is. So I ask everybody what their hype song is. So this is when they're going to get full Rachael on stage, what's playing in your head? Or if you're having a terrible day, what song brings you up? And it can be the same song or different.
No. Oh my God. Now I'm going to forget the band and somebody's going to shame me on the internet for this. But you know that song? This is the hype song. This is like when I'm about to go out and like speak or something like that.
Yep.
It's here I go again on my own.
Yeah, we will know who it is afterwards. Yes. I'm like, I also don't know, so feel free to shame us both. It's fine. I'm like, I know it, but Shazam is not on right now, so it's
Shazam is not on right now. And then to feel better is like a mix.
Yeah.
So Paula knows this, but like my background is actually in music and conservatory, and so. There's a lot of, I'll use the lawyer phrase, it depends in my answer. What am I feeling better from? What is the situation? What is the context? I've got a couple of like go-to musical songs, like from theater that I love. The entire Taylor Swift Lover album is like if I just need to be a little lighter, a little freer, if I need to hustle, I am putting on, please do not shame me for my white girl answer here, but I'm putting on Freedom by Beyonce.
I mean, like all things Beyonce, and if she's not raised every day, then something has gone wrong.
Yeah,
So
something has gone wrong. But
check
no, like
mark.
I want to hear when I am not feeling well, aside from my first answer, which has more of my hype song, right? Like
Yes.
I want to hear from some badass ladies. Like I want a lady to come and tell me it's all going to be okay.
I'm with it, and we absolutely all need that because in women we trust, and I know that that's the case for me. So you told me about your song, you told me about your quote, you told me about your words. Tell me about how you grew up and how you think, where and how you grew up and how you think that shaped your brand.
It's so weird telling Paula a story that I know Paula knows the answer to, but I'm going to tell it anyway. We'll rehash it. No, it's fun. So I completely incongruous with my adult self and personality grew up in Miami, Florida, and like Miami. And nobody believes that. It doesn't seem like it fits me at all until, and I don't drink anymore, but when I did drink, until I had a couple of drinks in me and somebody pissed me off, and then it came out.
Yes.
I will say this, like growing up in Miami, and like we're talking Miami-Dade County, early 80s, my parents lived there all the way through when I went to college. So when I was coming home from college, I was still going to Miami.
Yes.
I was flying to Fort Lauderdale because Miami airport's a mess. But you were like going down to Miami, and back then it was a true melting pot, and it wasn't as glossy as it is now. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in, I think, a good way, right? Like you had people from all different backgrounds mixing with each other, talking to each other. I am a white Jewish girl, but what do I have? I have tias, right? Like all of my tias took care of me. My sister's first word was agua, right? Like this is just the world we grew up in.
Yeah.
Where it was counted on that you were with people different than you, and that was a blessing and a joy, and that you could learn from them. And I think that has shaped a lot of like who I am as an adult, even though most people wouldn't guess that that's where it comes from. Is I want to be in places with people who think differently than me, who look differently than me, who act differently than me.
Yeah.
And I'm curious. I'm really curious, just like as an adult. And that, I think growing up in Miami really did shape that. Also my love of pastelitos, but you know. So yeah, like I think that shaped a lot of who I am. And then going into theater also shaped like a really strong focus on curiosity. Why am I doing this? What am I doing here? You know, when the director of a play asks you those questions, it's not acceptable to just be like, I don't know. You come up with something and you learn to come up with things, right? Like, why am I here? What am I doing? And it goes back to, you said thoughtful for your work. Thoughtful and intentional, right? Like so close.
Yes.
And I think I try to be really intentional with everything I do. And it stems from that curiosity.
I love that because it also, yes, I knew the story, but I do think also thinking about how we shift and change, hearing it now, right now, I hear it differently, right? I value it more because of where we are in the world and how important that is in terms of how our values are shaped and how our openness to experiences become. And it's a part of the magnetic thing that we have, because I think that growing up in New York has a similar situation. Old Brooklyn, not old anyway. Anyway,
Shades of Manhattan.
I'm just saying. Anywho, so talk to me about going from Miami to where you are now and your professional journey. Walk us through that.
Oh my God. It doesn't make any sense except that it does in hindsight, right? Like, so I left Miami. I went to one of the largest performing arts high schools in Miami. And so I knew I wanted to be in arts and creative and doing something. I went to conservatory in a really small town in Virginia, not too far from DC, which is why I've gotten connected to DC and why I felt so connected here. But really small town. My entire college, like when I got there, the entire school, all the student body, not the class, was smaller than my high school graduating class.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, talk about culture shift.
Exactly. Besides that it was cold and I had to buy a jacket and closed-toed shoes. I was like, what do you mean, my little toesies? And so there was definitely culture shift. I mean, the first culture shift, you know, this one is that like, I did not realize the difference. And so I got to campus in Northern Virginia and everybody I met, I kiss, right? Like that's what we do in Miami. That's how you say hello. That's how you meet people. People were here like, oh, she's got a crush on all these boys. Oh,
right. She's kissing everybody.
What are you talking about? I had to learn to like, oh, that's not. So truly like real cultural norms were so different. But that curiosity piece was there. So I go to theater school, graduate from there, start working professionally while I'm still at conservatory. And working professionally, I moved down to Memphis. So talk about, again, like I just cannot abide a moderate culture is what I'm learning about myself. Like I'm always going to be in an extreme. Spend a year in Memphis performing and then end up in DC where I'm still performing. Like I'm still a full-time stage actress. And during that time, I got bills to pay, you know? And so I get a temp job at a law firm of all places. A temp job at a law firm.
I love this.
And then somebody takes retirement unexpectedly and they're like, we need some help. Can you stay? And I sort of said yes. I really crave structure. I like structure in my life. The arts is not a place to find yourself some structure. The other thing that Paula knows about me, and I'll out myself, is I like nice things.
Same.
This is not a place where most people quickly are going to have access to the funds for nice things.
Legally.
So there I was working in law firms. We're checking a lot of boxes. And it was temporary, right? Like, I don't think I intended to stay in law firm world. But slowly over time, I was doing more and more of it. I was liking it. I was liking the structure. I like to do everything at a very high level. So when I was performing, I want to perform at the highest level. And quite frankly, when you're doing small regional theater, no offense to those, but they're not at the level that I was always comfortable with. Sometimes they were incredible shows, very hit or miss though. One of the things I love about law firms is it's a bunch of like elite cognitive athletes. They're real smart people. And I was like, oh, well, I like that, right? And so over time, kind of really decided that that was going to be the primary focus. And this was going to be a hobby over here, the arts. And so was in one law firm, moved to another law firm, moved to a third law firm. And at that third, it was at the time that firm was very entrepreneurial. If you had an idea, go do it, whatever you want. So I was building out curriculums. I was thinking about coaching before people were thinking about coaching. And I said, I would love to do this here. I'd like to build out more of like a training and coaching curriculum. And they were like, that's so cute. Yeah, no, you can do that. And your job. I love you all. Like truly loved the firm. Love the
not
firm.
That much.
Okay, no, thank you.
Right.
And even me as like a risk averse person, I was hiring people coming into the firm and like seeing the way that they did things. And two things were very self-evident to me. The first was that a lot of people like to come in and talk about things that are interesting, but are not necessarily useful to that group in that moment.
Yeah.
And then who do they come to for the useful stuff? The internal people, right? So how do I use that? What do I do with that? So I really wanted to kind of like play with that. And then I was also just like, the process of working with a lot of consultants was not good. I'm chasing people for invoices. I'm chasing you for a proposal. I'm saying, I want to give you money.
Right. Like, hello?
Are you hiring for me?
Right.
I thought, okay, well, look, I'll go like, what if I try this for a little bit? And if it fails, I'll go back to a law firm. Right. What do I care? You know, but I can try it. I like to do hard things. And it's 8 years, almost 9 years later now. And I tried it.
And it worked, and it worked. I mean, obviously, I think the standard of wanting to hit that excellent standard is the through line through all of that, and it's how you show up and thinking about branding, etc. Like I know that if you're going to do something, I don't have to worry about that. It's going to be. There's some people who I'm like, let me just see it first. Let me just go ahead and let's try, and then we'll do this. But I can say, surely, and not just because you're my friend, that it is how you show up, and it makes a difference. So you launched Fringe.
Mm-hmm.
You want to bring more humanity and better communication into professional services. You know, you talked about the fact that you had to navigate the other people and why, I can do this. Was there a specific catalyst that said, I'm leaving now, I'm going to do this now?
That's such a good question. There were a series of events that happened in rapid succession. So, as I think is typical, right?
Yes.
So I had a work colleague who was not in legal, was not in this space at all, who had her own business. And I was kind of helping her meet law firm people.
Yeah.
And then she's like, hey, would you come do this with me? We got really far into that process.
Yeah.
And I started realizing I had more opinions than I thought, which should not have been a shock to me or anyone who knows me. But I was like, oh, I actually think it should be this way, or I think it should be that way. And I was like, oh, maybe I would want to do this. I have a lot of thoughts about how this should work holistically. Yes. That happened right around kind of the same time that I had one particular person who had come into the firm who I was paying, right? Well, the firm was, but, through me, was paying to come in and deliver some training services in this same space. Yeah. And they kept coming to me, asking me to edit their deck, asking me for my feedback, and I was like, oh, shit.
Right.
You're coming to me. I think so those two things kind of happening together were really useful. And it was a long burn. Like I remember sitting at a conference with some of my leaders at the firm at the time. And I told them, I said, a year from now at next year's conference, I'm not going to have this job. And I can have another job at the firm, but this will not be my job. And I said, I love you guys. And that's why I'm telling you this, right? Yeah. Everyone needs to love their colleagues. I love my colleagues, right? So I did. I told them that. And over time, it became clear over that year that that wasn't going to happen. But the firm gave me a big runway. They let me take on clients before I left. They were great about it. And the next conference, it was only a couple months in. But I was there with Fringe Professional Development on my name tag. And
I love it. I love the visioning, the intention setting, the action, all of the things that I live in. That makes me so happy. Yeah. For those of you who are listening, think about what those goals that you have are. And there's something about saying it out loud that makes, I think, a contract with the universe. And all of a sudden things start to shift. And it's a power. I've seen it over and over and over again. It is a powerful thing to set intentions. And so you and I have in common that we work a lot with law firms. And so there's a lot we've learned in those spaces. So they're not necessarily known for being places where authenticity thrives, or where, depending on the culture, that speaking up is something that is often wanted, unless it's in a certain space, place, time, right? And so I think about personal branding because obviously I live it. And I talk to people at firms about this all the time, but there's always a shift that I have to make with them in order for them to get why it's important to them. Why do you think personal brand is important when professionals are thinking about finding their voice and who they are?
I want to answer 15 questions that were in your question, but weren't your question, but I'll try to stick to the one you asked.
Answer the one that you want. Go for it.
So first of all, I think the premise is right.
Yeah.
And I think that at the same time, the more myself I am, and I mean in ways that you think might not be compatible with a law firm environment, the more I want to reference Bravo in my answers. And I don't mean a round of applause. I mean the station, the channel, Andy Cohen. The more people love it, the more I, depending on the environment, flip a little 4-letter word in, the more people love it. The more my tattoos show, the more people love it. So it's, people think of like, oh, they don't love this here. And yet there's a human reaction when somebody is really just being themselves and not having a whole lot of artifice in between you and them.
Yes.
We connect to that.
Yes.
So while they may think they have some constructs of what it is to be in this space and how they have to show up, my experience has taught me that the more I am just me talking to another human, the more people respond really well to that. And that goes to like the most senior leaders in these firms. And so I think that the real piece within this is understanding how to kind of grow into oneself and how, and this is true for you too, and I know this, right? Like how excellence provides some flexibility.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yes. If you are shitty at your job,
you can't. None of this is happening.
No, this is not for you.
Right. We're not playing around with anything. We don't care about your authentic, because if trash is your baseline, we can't even get there.
Honestly, if trash, if mediocre is your baseline.
Right. Yes.
And I think there's that piece. There's the excellence connection, and then I think one of the challenges that I see, and I know I'm not the interviewer, but I want to know what you think too, is like I see this a lot with newer professionals, and this is not generational because I've been seeing this for years. An assumption that you walk in on day one and get to reference Bravo and throw the F-bomb and do the thing. I sure as hell didn't. First of all, I wasn't self-assured enough, but also I hadn't shown people that they should trust me. And I think that that's a message that I don't think a lot of people like to hear.
They don't like to hear. They don't hear it. They need to hear it. I have to tell them all over and over again. I think about this often. So I have what I call my AAA standard, which is attorneys. If I'm speaking to attorneys, authenticity is attractive. That is true. And authenticity is not an on and off switch. It is a scale. And so I don't think we should ever be in any place where we cannot feel authentic. We cannot feel like we are welcome and there, right? And have some part of us, right? Because that just means you're not supposed to be there. But to your point, I'm not going on day one and being like, what's up, y'all? And I'm having my authentic self on that scale at a 10 is wearing sweatpants, which no one will ever see. The only person who sees it is my contractually obligated husband. That's it. That's all, right? But we get on that scale to Bravo when we show that trust, we do the work and we get more comfortable, but it's not when you walk through the door. You don't even know, you're on a listening, you're on a charm offensive, right? You got to figure out, okay, what's going on? Who do I know? How do they know me? And what can I do? And show the effort and energy, even if you don't have the skill yet. And then you can start doing all that other stuff. So yes. And if it's not attorneys, take this way. The A is all y'all. Authenticity is attractive.
Yes. I love it. No, I've been saying, like, I think we conflate authenticity and being true to oneself.
By keeping it real.
Yes. So what I'll say to like junior folks, lawyers or business professionals is your core center of self should not change.
Absolutely.
I always tell them values, boundaries, beliefs.
Love it.
Those don't change.
Yeah. Yes.
How you show up in a space, how much on that sliding scale you're going to turn Paula on, that's the authenticity piece.
Right.
And like you've probably used some version of this, but I like to make things weird. And so the way that I will get them to understand is I will say, I do not engage with my father the same way that I do with my husband. Because that would be weird. And it doesn't feel inauthentic in either relationship.
Right.
It's the same in both values, boundaries, beliefs.
Right. I'm married. My husband's very much like my father. So anyway, that's another episode.
That's a separate podcast. We'll be starting that next year.
Yeah, that part. Like, I'm really glad we ran into that. It's a part of our conversation because the personal part of personal branding, people will be like, well, it shouldn't be professional branding. And I always tell them the reason why I double down on personal branding is because it's all you. Right? It is personal to you. No matter where you are, it's the you of it. And that's why I'm like, yeah, my personal brand includes the professional piece, right? And this also includes the sweatpants that I was talking about. And that's an important piece of it. And in those spaces, it's not necessarily promoted that people should be doing those things. So it is what it is. So let me ask you this. Can you share an example, a moment when trying to fit in didn't serve you? That you had to start showing up authentically because you were not doing that?
You put me on blast. That's not right. I will say, and this kind of actually piggybacks on what we were just talking about, right? Like, your environment is a choice.
Yeah.
Yes. And it is not a choice that everybody has full and equal access to.
Facts.
Admit it. But we have more agency than I think we do. So values, boundaries, and beliefs shouldn't change. When you're in a space where those are in conflict, you need to remove oneself.
Yeah.
And you need to make a different choice. And I think that some people see that as quitting. I mean, sometimes it technically involves quitting. So, but spiritual quitting, right? Like,
yes.
Right. And I want people to think of it, and I had to do this myself with what I'm about to say. I had to make a different choice. I had to make a choice that served me more. Right. So the thing that comes to mind is I was definitely in a professional environment that was not serving me, where values were not in alignment, and that was manifesting behaviorally. And I kept the youth, the kids would call it, I had the ick, right?
Yeah.
It didn't feel right. It felt like every day going to work wearing somebody else's clothes. I'm pulling them out of my closet. They're my clothes. But it wasn't about the clothes. It was about what I was making myself do. I was forming myself into a place that wasn't right for me. Yeah. And it's hard, especially when you're a high achieving person, to say, this is not for me. Right? And I will be very honest that I was handed an opportunity to make a different choice. Yeah. Good. So, yeah, good. Good. And also, I'm sitting here like, everybody just make a different choice. When somebody was like, hi, would you like a choice? I've got one for you. And that's easier, right? But like, I don't think that we have language and context around these concepts that we didn't have when I was in that situation. Yeah. And I even think about the choice not to continue to pursue theater, right? Like, there were people that I went to school with who I really do love and who are wonderful people who were like, you're a sellout. You sold out. And I made a choice that was right for me. Yeah. Yep. I'm glad I asked you the question, because your point about agency is an interesting one. I think we get it through reflection, right? Sometimes we're put in these spaces that force us to make a decision, and we realize that we should have made it much earlier, right? And that we did have agency to do so. And so I reflect on a role that I was in. Feel free to look through my LinkedIn and guess which one it is. Anyway, that where they literally made me feel small. And so I think all of you know that I literally came out of the womb and was like, I'm here, what's up? Right? Which is funny because the physically smallest human takes up the most space. 5'2" in stature, 6'7" in attitude. So, but this organization systematically and physically put me into a smaller space until I literally was like, is this a closet? Like, were you Harry Potter? Were you under the stairs? I was Harry Potter, and they had to come and save me. Hagrid had to come for me. And so when I think about that, I look back and I go, what was happening in here that I didn't realize that I was, number one, better than that? And number two, who the hell did they think that they were? But that is, that hindsight is 2020.
that was so much that was going on at that point. And so what I want you all to take as an audience, whether you're looking at us or just hearing us, is this. Is that sometimes the fear you have of being unable to move or to do it's a you thing and not an actual thing, right? And that the universe will hear when you say enough is enough and either hand you something or make you go get something. Because the day that I left that job, it was Halloween. I'll never forget. It was Halloween. And I went home to my husband and I said, party's over, fools. I'm not doing this anymore. And then within a week, I had 2 contracts. Within a week. And it was just me saying, enough.
I know.
So,
well, you know what's funny too? Like, I know we're talking about work but all of us have been in a personal relationship, romantic or otherwise, that does this exact thing. And when we leave, it's like we're like the little, the little sponges you put in water and they kind of like,
yes.
It's like we've gotten saturated again when we leave. And you look back and you're like, how was I letting that fool do that to me?
Yeah.
Whoever that fool was for
I was going to say, you know him? Okay. Yeah.
Well, you and I are both very, very lucky. We have wonderful spouses who put up with our way too big attitudes that we both have. Let's be honest, right? But I think
they're blessed. They're blessed.
They are. Lucky them. It's true in personal relationships.
Yeah.
It's true in relationship to your organization.
Yes.
It's true in relationship to if you are an employer, your employees, right? Like when you look back and you're like, it never felt right.
Yeah. Yeah. Should have made a decision
to not listen to our instincts.
Yes. And also, yes. So as all of you reflect on those relationships that you should have left earlier, I tell them I said it's over. Anywho, so we both often talk in the organizations about feedback and the need for communication. And it is such an important part of career growth, right? So whether you like it or not, whether you want it or not, we need feedback in order to grow, get better, progress, extend, etc. How can professionals brand themselves as people who can receive feedback well?
So branding, to your point, has so much to do with consistency.
Yeah.
So from a feedback perspective, I go to my favorite feedback word, which is behavior. Your behavior shows people. And when we think about being coachable, which is just being able to get feedback and receive it and process it and deal with it, I think a lot of people miss that the final step of being coachable is going back to the coach and saying, hey, I did that thing. Does it look better now?
Right. I heard you.
I heard you. Because I think the thing that people miss about feedback, because I don't think it's the most fun for anyone to get constructive or corrective feedback. Right. And anyone who wants to be a high performer needs it. I make true on my promises. So let's talk about Bravo. Okay. The last season of Top Chef was so good. I will not do any spoilers, although they're already filming the next season, so get on top of it, people. And one of the finalists in an early clip, so this was well before you knew what you knew, because you know when you're watching, you're like, that's the one, right? You know who's going to make it to the finals. Was doing one of those the confessional interviews, just one-on-one, and said, in order for me to be the best chef I can be, I need better chefs to tear me apart. I can't be better without it. And think about any competition show, right? So the beginning of Project Runway, the beginning of RuPaul's Drag Race, there are too many contestants. So not everybody actually gets to stand in front of the panel of judges and get a critique. Do you know who the most upset people are besides the one who gets voted off? The people who are safe and don't get any feedback, because everybody in that situation wants to be the best.
Right. They don't know what to do now. They don't know how to change if they need to change. Yes. Yes. And
that piece, I think we need to carry over to sort of like corporate professional environments, is a desire for, and then an implementation and a follow-up on, because the person giving you feedback doesn't hate you. In fact, if somebody gives you feedback as tough as it may be to hear, that is a sign that they think you are worth it and that you are capable and that they want to invest their time in you.
Yes.
Best way to tell them don't invest any more time in me is to take it and never talk to them about it again.
Yes.
Go back to them. Say, hey, yeah, I thank you for that investment. I did my work over here. Please keep investing.
So we know that that is a brand builder because the people who give feedback, it's not easy on that side either, right? So it's important to have, particularly, I will say this to my people who are from underrepresented groups, when you ask for and receive feedback in ways in which people feel like they can continue to give it to you, it changes some of the places where bias might have been there in the first place, where they didn't feel free or want to or are nervous to. So that's a best practice there. But what I really want to ask you about, Rachael, is this.
Okay.
What about when you get feedback, not you, but someone gets feedback and you don't agree with it?
Okay. So I was gonna go right on top of your comment there about like, in terms of folks who come from historically underrepresented groups.
Yes.
Okay. You have to baseline assume that some of the feedback you're getting is bullshit.
Yes.
It's bullshit. It's not about you.
Yes.
So this is why I say, like, we all need to be asking and giving it more than we want. If you don't think about the feedback that you get as a data set, you're doing it wrong. You need to be able to know, particularly if you hold one or more of those identities, hey, 90% of the feedback I get says that I'm really good tonally with clients. This one person came to me and said that I wasn't, and I didn't do anything different that day. That's about them. And now we're not reacting to everything. We're gathering a data set. Evidence is still important in some of our worlds. And so we are going to gather a data set that says, hey, this is the majority of the feedback I get. If I get an outlier, I can interrogate that outlier. Did I do something? Because sometimes you did, right? You didn't have your Wheaties that morning. I don't know. Or maybe it was something you did. But if you really do sit with it, interrogate it, and realize I didn't do anything differently than the other 100 times that I got feedback that was different, now you know that's not about it. And maybe you keep your eye on it to see, like, get more feedback that's different. But you have to get enough to know when it's not about you. And I think the challenge is, if you don't get enough, your default could actually be to dismiss things that are about you.
Without me giving you $5 like I normally give people, you said exactly what I wanted you to bring out, because that ego and feedback. You know, my joke that I always give is like, everybody wants feedback when it's good and they ask for it, right? Like that's it. And we have to navigate the ego hit, particularly high performers who are used to being like, yes, I am God's gift to everything that I show up at. Right. But that's not how you get the blessing of what you need to know to continue to elevate and escalate. Right.
Can I also this is like a hill that I'm on right now. I'm just
Let's go. Tell me.
Good and bad feedback does not have anything to do with the content. It has to do with the delivery. Like, I want good feedback. That means that you delivered it well. Good feedback. I know you love when good feedback is affirmative. Feedback. What most people say is good, right? What I think it means is it's affirmative. It's Paula, you are so good at interviewing people. I need you to be doing that more. Like, you ask great questions. It's strengths-based feedback. Paula, you show up as yourself, and that's really powerful, right? That's what I would call, I don't even call it good or bad now. We call it zone 1 feedback. Right? Affirmative feedback. Zone 2 is behavior corrective feedback. Okay? It is either constructive, which we call everything that is something we don't like constructive. Most of the feedback we give is corrective.
Yes.
It's a yes or no. The meeting was on July 8th and you sent it for July 9th.
Don't do that again.
There's nothing constructive about me telling you that. It's corrective, right? And so most people call both corrective and constructive bad. That's bad. I got to give some bad feedback. And I'm like, are you going to yell at them? No, then you're not giving bad feedback. Which one are you giving, corrective or constructive? Like, oh shit, I don't know. And I'm like, well, then you're probably not ready to give it.
Right. And people haven't gotten it. That's why they don't know how to give it. And haven't taught how to.
And so we default also to the safest. So even in the zone 2, we default to corrective because people can't argue with us. It's yes or no. Yes or no. So this is where, like, I absolutely am, like, truly, like, I'm going to die on this hill. Their good and bad feedback has nothing to do with the content. I want us to stop using
Love it.
that sort of binary because
Yeah.
it's not useful.
Yeah. I love that breakdown of the framework and hearing it, because again, we're talking about communication and language and using precise things for precise. It just makes it better so that we can, I think, also do and hear it better when we're right, when we're not couching it as good or bad or right. So all of y'all start. There'll be a test after this. Okay. So so speaking of self-perception and alignment, tell me about Candorly, which is one of your innovations that you're very proud of. Tell us all about it. How did it come about? How can it help professionals to align their self-perception with how others experience them, which is essentially branding? Go ahead.
Truly branding. Yeah. And like, I wasn't sure where this was going. I was already with my statistic, right? Like, most people think that they're self-aware. 10 to 15% of the general population meet the clinical criteria. Thank you, Tasha Urich. We're real bad. We're real bad. Why are we so bad at understanding if our perception matches reality? Because we don't get enough feedback.
Exactly.
Right? So Candorly is my love, my little project. It's not a little project anymore either. It's an entire entity. So when I started Fringe, I was doing coaching and training. And coaching world, those of you who are listening who might be coaches, or you've experienced coaching. If you're coaching somebody who's manager or above, if they interface with other people, you usually want to start by gathering some feedback about that person, or else you go in and the person's like, I'm actually amazing. And as we just decided, most people, 90% of people are not actually self-aware. So we can't trust that.
Right.
We need to ground the coaching in some basis of reality. So we were doing all of this. We were doing like interviews, getting this feedback from people. And then I started getting asked like, hey, could you do this for like all of our leaders? And like any good entrepreneur, my answer was, yes, of course.
They figure out how to do it.
Like, oh, how do I do that? I had a good idea though, right? So it came from, and I think this is one of the things that kind of differentiates it from a lot of 360 feedback tool, perception, leadership tools. It came from the coaching work. So it is rooted in a place of better understanding of our impact of other people and better understanding of our alignment with other people. We started to grow it and then turned it into an entire platform. It is open right now. So we use it with our clients at Fringe, but any coach who wants to use it can absolutely use it. And I think one of the best things about it is how we measure and convey that what we call perception delta. A lot of people will call it a blind spot. We're moving the needle away from ableism and to your point about accurate language, a blind spot, a perception gap, a perception delta. We know what that means. Those are two words that we know. So let's all start using more plain language too. So the perception delta has been such a powerful element in the tool. You get all sorts of like feedback. Does this person mentor people? Just when you give feedback, does it help them perform? Do people understand what you mean when you communicate? All that sort of standard stuff. But what we've seen over time is that perception delta is probably one of the most powerful pieces. And even when we do this across an organization and we say, hey, you've got people who are really strong and then people who need some support, maybe. I think our default as people in, thought work organizations is to think, the people who are really strong got good scores. The people who aren't got low scores. Okay, well, riddle me this. Somebody gets the best scores out of the entire group, right? You have an entire partnership maybe at a firm, and they have the top score feedback from other people. And their perception delta is huge. Are they a top performer?
I think no. I think no. Well, I guess it depends. So I'm thinking of this differently, right? Because I know, but I
Yeah.
would think that the fact that they don't know, okay, I'm going to take this back. I
You're
would
giving me
say
four
that
answers already, which is great.
it would be, I would think that there's a challenge in the culture.
Could it be?
I would think that perhaps there's a challenge in the culture and that people are not actually answering properly, if that's the case, or that they're fine and they could be much better, and so we need to, no matter what, we need to figure this out. But tell us what the actual answer is. All the
The
people.
answer is actually it does depend. It depends on the
Yeah,
situation, and it
yeah,
depends on a couple of things. But I'll tell you, like the biggest thing for
mhm,
us
yeah,
is that it's an indicator to look more,
yeah, yeah,
because I'll tell you the biggest thing that usually, so perception delta is an interesting thing too, right? Like, so
yeah,
when you
yeah.
start looking at it, I'm going to get real nerdy for a second.
Go
I
for
will
it.
come back out and go back to Bravo. Don't worry. Um, but perception delta, like it isn't necessarily how big or low or how big or small your number is, right?
Yeah.
Because a perfect, for people
Mhm.
listening, I'm doing air quotes, perception delta is 0, right?
Okay. Hmm.
Which means that perception delta moves in 2 directions. I can have an overinflated sense of self.
Mm,
I rate myself higher than other people rate me. And I can
yes.
have an underinflated sense of self. I rate myself lower than other people rate me. And both of them indicate different things.
Right. Yes.
But if one is a -3 and one is a +3,
Hmm.
+3 is not better than
Right.
-3.
Right.
Because
Right.
it's the delta, the difference from
That's the issue.
0.
Yes.
How far are we moving from 0? And very few people, by the way, are, I rarely, I think occasionally on like a question by question basis, we'll get somebody who's spot on.
Uh-huh.
On the whole, it doesn't happen, right? Like, because none of us are.
Mm.
But
So
it tells you different things. So if you have the highest scores out of everyone in an entire group, but
yeah.
you underrated yourself, you are at risk of burnout.
Right.
You probably are not taking care of yourself. You are probably very hard on yourself and run the risk
Mm.
in a stressful situation of being very hard on other people.
Mm.
Yeah. So they
This
mean different
this
things.
So I mean, I love that you went through that, even though I hate math and numbers, except when they're dollars and in my account. But the good part about that is that when it comes to, and I'm thinking about the tool in terms of its impact, potential impact on organizations, but also on individuals, is that you need to know
Mhm.
in order to manage, because then you can decide how you want to figure that out, if you want to figure it out, and then navigate those things. So no matter what, you might think, if you're listening to this, like, it's good if they think better than me than I think about myself. But again,
It's not.
you still need to navigate that. And that might be that inner work that you have to do, but it still needs to be navigated. And I love, love, love that. It gives you, hopefully, some content for growth mindset, things that you can work on, right? None of us are perfect.
Mm-mm.
Right. Number one in the line of not perfection, but that if we are wanting to understand that perception and to continue to work to navigate it so that there is alignment, that's the work.
Yeah.
So everybody go out and check out the website and figure out, I know that you need it, but I don't know who you are, but I know that you need it. So anyway, okay. I knew this conversation was going to go quickly, so obviously you have to come back so I can ask you all the rest of the questions.
Mm-hmm. Took
But
this long to get me in the first time.
I'm just saying, that's why I'm maximizing the use of this time and energy for part one.
I love
Part
it.
one, the fringe, the initial fringe, and then the fringe, the remix. It's fine. Tell me this.
Yes, ma'am.
You love pop culture, as we have heard already. Tell me why that's important to your professional trajectory, like that connection to pop culture and it being important and being upset and staying aligned with that. How does that impact your professional trajectory, other than the examples you use?
Well, that's it.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
when you can tell, a lot of the stuff that we do can get really heady, get a little
Yeah.
mathy, right?
Yes.
Get a
Yes.
little neuroscience-y, right?
Yes.
That puts people off when they're afraid, when they don't understand. If
Mm-hmm,
I can relate it back to a situation that that you
mm-hmm,
heard about, that you feel comfortable with, and that's not even like big scale stuff. I remember one of the first programs I did for a group of law firm partners, 2017. Okay.
mm-hmm.
I am like little baby professional entrepreneur out there.
Mm-hmm.
I had a slide, and I remember the person from the firm was like, "You're going to put that on the slide?" And I said, "Let me try it." Group of partners, pretty high up their firm. So some might think not really open to this.
Mm-hmm.
It was about expectations, the slide. And the slide title was, "Tell me what you want, ...
It's got to be. Come on.
And I had the room say back to me, and they did in full force with their whole chest.
What you really want.
Yes. As it turns out, even the most sophisticated people we work with live in this world and experience pop culture. Now, have all of those people, because I did just want to do it right now, heard ellipses? I have one daughter. No, you can't go too deep in the pop culture hole, but for the people who just got that, you're my people. It makes things relatable. Going back to the very beginning, are things interesting or are they useful? Mm-hmm. And if they're not relatable, if I can't really understand them, they're not useful.
They're not useful. Yeah.
Pop culture helps, and it takes down the barriers. We're all just people. Those partners thought that was hysterical. Right? I used to teach something called the Missy principle, which is cognitive reappraisal. Because cognitive reappraisal, if you actually look at the white papers on cognitive reappraisal, there are 3 steps. You put the thing down, flip it, and you reverse it.
I can't. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And as I mentioned, this is going to go by quickly. So I'm holding you to a verbal, oral, and visual contract that you are going to have to come back
for the rematch.
And so I can ask you all other questions. But I feel like you answered one question I always ask about fun. It's clear. You guys don't need that question answered specifically. We already talked about it. But I do want to ask you this, which is, what is one aspect of your personal and professional brand that you'll never compromise on?
Humor. 100%.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not joking when I say I've had a very fun time talking to you for this fast and furious hour. And I want you to tell everybody where they can find out more and connect with you.
I'm on the internet. I don't know if you've heard of it, but you can definitely find me there. It's Fringe, like a jacket, P like Peter, D like dog.com. On LinkedIn, all over the LinkedIn. Candorly is getcandorly.com. But I'm around. If you spell my name wrong when you email me, I'll still get it. So it's just fringepd.com.
Fabulous. It's been fabulous to have you here, and I can't wait to do it again. Everybody, don't forget to always give goodish feedback and stand by your brand. Bye, everybody. That's it for this episode. I appreciate you hanging out with me on Branding Room Only. Now, please do me a quick favor. Head over to ratethispodcast.com/branding so more people can join this conversation. And make sure to stop by paulaedgar.com/events to see what's next. Whether I'm live, online, or in person, I'd love to see you there. See you next time in the Branding Room. And until then, stand tall, shine bright, and always stand by your brand.